back everyone to another episode of CD Bath. This is a special series which we have launched and we have decided to record with some really special guests who can motivate you for the year 2021. 2020 wasn't a very good year for everybody. We know that. So you need a dose of motivation, right? And that's why we have got a very interesting guest today. She is Nika from Iran. Right now, she's in Vancouver. So Nika is currently working with Azar, a data analytics company in Vancouver, Canada. She was working in SAP, which was a similar company, and she has co-founded a home automation startup company, which is amazing. And we'll know more about that further as we ask her questions. Nika studied computer science and interactive arts and technology at SFU, which she'll elaborate on later. She's very passionate about solving complex problems in creative ways, which we can pretty much make out by the planning process. When we were planning this podcast, it was a very quick process, and she gave us amazing ideas within seconds. So we could just this is just justified for us, and she's going to justify that for you in the next few minutes. Other than she's right now she is into UX design, and other than UX, Nika is passionate about global education and hands-on creative projects, which is amazing. She has 9 years of experience in teaching mathematics to grades 7 to 11, which personally freaks me out because I was pretty bad at mathematics when I was young. Amazing. Nika also has a 4 years experience of event design coordination experience and enjoys creative art projects using calligraphy and watercolor painting. There is so much to her name, and she's very creative. She knows 5 different languages, guys, 5 different languages, and she absolutely loves meeting and talking to people, which is why she's on CD Bath. She is very fond of reading, books and articles, and she loves to take suggestions from people. So after this show, you can probably just recommend her a few books which you like, and maybe she can give that a try, right? Okay, so without any further ado, we'll just skip my chit chat and we'll welcome our guest on board. Thank you so much, Nika, for sparing time for us. We are so grateful to have you here, and it's so nice to see a beautiful face of yours this morning, which is night in India, by the way, guys. We are working at a time difference of around 11 hours, and we have our special co-host today, Simar, who I already told. She started as a guest in CD Bath, and today she is the co-host, which is an amazing feeling. And special thanks to both these women who are working with us at 3 different time zones, and we are right now collaborating on a very complex basis. So let's welcome Nika. Nika, how are you? How was lockdown for you, and what's up with you right now? Just a quick update.
Hi guys, hi to anyone who'll be watching this. Thanks for the introduction. It was it was nice. It was long. It was nice. So many different things. I'm good. Lockdown was good. I am usually the kind of person who is okay hanging out at home and like doing little things around the house. So the first few months was no problem. And then it started to get into me like, oh my God, like we can't.
Yeah.
Like every person.
Just like everybody else in the world. Yeah, let's get into the questions.
Amazing. So, Nika, since you are the co-founder to a startup, right? We would like to know more about your startup and how does it feel to be the founder to a startup, which is again a very diverse startup, relates to so many different topics and aspects of life. So, how's the feeling and what is it about?
It's great. It's a lot of work. I mean, we didn't go on and launch and continue working on the startup, but just the process of starting it, creating something from scratch, and it's a lot of work. There was 3 of us. We were probably doing, I don't know, the work of like so many people. Like we were working like 16 hours a day sometimes on this because it's your baby. You need to know everything. You need to learn everything. You don't have mentorship. So it's a different experience. Like I try to look at it as you have a lot of room for creativity. You have a lot of it's very scrappy. Like you can create something and then throw it away, and then create something and then throw it away, and then it's very free. It's a very free flowing kind of environment versus like in a medium company that I work now. it's a good balance between the two. Like you have mentorship, it's not as scrappy. But then SAP, for example, it was an enterprise, so it's a huge company with a huge user base. So that is a total opposite. You have so much mentorship, it's always teamwork.
Yeah.
But you don't have as much creativity, I would say. So you would have to pick at which point of your career, which one you sort of prefer.
Yeah.
It has its ups and downs, all
Yes.
of them.
Understandable. Yeah. Amazing, amazing. I mean, I'm very, very liking this a lot, like Nika is so cool and composed and calm, and the way she's giving answers clearly shows how mature she is and how no thoughtfully she has taken all her decisions, right? Sima is very quiet today. Sima, would you like to ask a
Yeah.
question to Nika?
Yeah, like I've seen that being in technical field, being a techie is like you have to just keep thinking, thinking, thinking. But your positive thing is you're very cool and balanced kind of person, and I know that kind of attitude actually helps you a lot to run in like in a long run. So that's very a positive side of yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just saying your compliment is making me nervous now.
Oh God.
Well,
You don't have to be, you
well,
know?
like, yeah, it takes active effort, honestly. Like, it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to like try and balance things. Like, it doesn't happen on its own, and it's quite stressful. The environment is like quite stressful, and yeah, we'll talk about it as we go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, Simar, you'll put up a question. You had a question about, what fascinates
Yeah.
her to be in computer science, so you can just ask
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, so like I wanted to ask you basically what like fascinated you and what's like the most interesting part like being in the field of computer sciences. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so nobody really knows. Like, growing up, you want to be something, and then you start
Hmm.
university with something, and then you end up somewhere else. And almost everybody I know went through that up and down. So for me, the one thing that I knew and the one thing that I know is that I always wanted to help people.
Yeah.
I just want to make things better, so when I was little, like I just wanted to be a nurse. I was like, I need to be a nurse,
Oh, that's so
help people.
nice.
To help people, right? I just want to be a nurse, or I want to be a teacher to teach children and stuff like that. And then, so when I started school, I actually wanted to study this major called bioinformatics, which is a combination of
Oh, yeah. In
yeah,
biotechnology.
yeah,
Yes.
bioinformatics and computer science. So I took most of the math courses, and then got into computer science. I really liked it. You obviously fail so much in the first few terms. Like it was just like, okay, like I can't, like you don't have the discipline. I wouldn't like show up to the final exam, like it was crazy.
Yeah.
More or less, like I liked the major, it was going well. But I decided to move away from like pure like because comp sci gets one thing and goes super deep into it,
Yeah.
right? Like theory, implementation, how things work, go super deep into it. And I was missing, the human interaction of it, and the kind of environment was very, um, solid and like serious for me at the time. And I think part of it was that I wasn't really engaged with the class and the other students and everyone. So I switched to this other major. I think it's more of a unique major at SFU. It's called Interactive Arts and
Yeah.
Technology. Yeah, so then I switched to that, and then I started doing front end work and then UX work. But to answer your question, I just like making things as well. I just like to make things always, like knitting or like painting or a new project or designing something.
Wow.
So that's what it always was, the fact that with like computer science or coding, you could just create something.
Yeah.
But it was never like I know what I'm gonna do and then a bullseye, like I go into UX. It was not like that. Like it took me like 10
That's
years to
nice.
figure out and keep pivoting, right? Okay, nope, this is not working. Nope, that's not working. So
I think we have
yeah.
a
Yeah.
very good thing to note there, guys. I mean, it doesn't always have to be like we usually think it has to be that goal and you have to stuck in there all at once. It has to be bullseye in the first go. But if you know it, she is trying to give you a message here that it's not always like that, and mostly it's not like that. You have to explore a little bit and make yourself more comfortable with different things happening around you,
Yeah,
and eventually you will find your
absolutely.
passion, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so
That's
good.
right.
Yeah, and yeah, we loved your philanthropic nature also. Basically, you related your careers with your passion, and I know that's why you're doing like pretty good in everything. The human interaction thing, even I like finding a career in which you get to talk to people, and when that things relates to your career, that goes like pretty very good. So I just love those things as well. Yeah.
Like, to continue what you guys are saying, like, I'm a very committed person. Like, there's never a plan B for me, right? I'm like, no, this is my thing. Like, I'm going to do this. Like you said, it has to be perfect, first time bullseye. But then, and I do try enough, like, to make it work, right? Like, desperately, no, let's try something else. Let's try something else. Let's reach out. Let's get help. But if it doesn't work out, then okay, like, pivot. You know, that's what I also wanted to talk about failure. It's okay, like, and my manager currently at work, he keeps saying strong opinions weakly held. So we would walk into the meeting, be like, oh, you guys don't know, this is the only way of doing this project. There's no other way. This is the best idea ever. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be awesome. And then somebody else shows you, of course, logically, not opinion based, like, hey, no, this is a better way. Oh, okay, you're right. Let's do it that way.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow,
Amazing.
that's so
That's the
nice.
way, like, you should go with the hard work and the, open heart that, okay, this is going to be it. It's going to be awesome. But if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, like, after you try hard enough. So
Amazing. Wow. Again, a very deep message. I think I don't even need to interpret that one. That one was pretty clear. Pretty clear. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
although whatever you have mentioned in this particular answer makes me ask you several questions at one time, but we'll go one by one, right? A
yeah.
curiosity question to which you'll have to give me a yes or no answer is, did you always like mathematics? I mean,
I did. Yeah, I did. I think it was for me, like, yeah, it's a deep answer, I guess. I'll keep it short, but I liked school a lot, and I like to be competitive. I like to do better, not with grades. Like, I never really cared much about grades, but I was like, I have to. It's that, it's a curiosity. Like, I need to
yeah,
see, like, I need to open this and see what's inside, and then, like, close it again. So
wow.
with mathematics as well, like, um, I was always curious. That doesn't mean that my grades were good, because mathematics has different aspects, right? You need to like it, you need to enjoy it, you need to sit with it, and it's one of the only in elementary and middle school,
Mhm.
one of the only subjects that you actually need a discipline to sit down and practice, and you don't have that discipline, you just want to play. So that doesn't mean my grades were good, but that curiosity of, okay, like, why am I not getting this answer, like, let me
Yeah,
figure it
yes, yes,
out.
yes. That's so true. I mean, till the point when you're getting the answers, mathematics, I used to love mathematics. That's my personal opinion. And as soon as I got stuck, mathematics became one hell of a problem for me. And I was like, no, I what to do now? I can't leave it because that won't give me mental peace, but I can't even solve it because I'm not getting how to solve it. So
Exactly.
it was always a love-hate relationship with mathematics that I've had. Nonetheless,
Mathematics does that to you, puts you there, like, here's a dead end. What are you gonna do with it now?
so true.
Yeah.
Well, Nika, being a UX designer, you came here, you immigrated, you came from Iran specifically, and you became a UX designer eventually, right? So, how difficult was it for you to manage in a whole new country? And what advice, especially, would you like to give to those who are either planning to immigrate to other countries or who are already international students, like my friend Simmer right here, right? So, how do they manage everything? There's a whole lot that comes on you, right? New country, new people, new residents, new job, new college, maybe education, and then handling everything by yourself. So yeah, how was your experience, and what do you advise others to do?
Yeah, yeah, I guess the first thing I would say is it's not black and white. Even if you are, a lot of people usually immigrate to go somewhere better. Um, but even if it is that you're running away from something so terrible, and you're like, okay, this is terrible, I need to go somewhere better. It's never black and white. It's never like, oh, my country, or even if you're migrating between cities, it's not like, oh, that place is like terrible, I can do nothing there, and here is like, oh, it's raining cash, or like it's amazing. It's never black and white. It's always trade-offs. You always have to give something to get something. I had a good point that I forgot.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's never black and white, and it's trade-offs. You need to do your own research. You need to have a purpose in mind of why you're doing what you're doing, because a lot of times, like, if you consult people, like a lot of times sometimes they don't tell you the whole truth. Like they don't
Yeah,
sit down to tell you the
the
whole,
ups and downs.
especially the downs. Yeah, especially the downs. Like they're usually like, oh yeah, I mean, you usually talk to people on their good days. You know, it's awesome, it's great, we're doing this, we're doing that, but it's never like, oh, I miss home, or like it's not the same, or I don't have the sense of home, or it's hard. Like you have to start working at like lower jobs, and it's tough, you know. So do your own research, I would say, and it's not black and white. And it's tough. It could be a setback as well, and it's a very, very personal journey, I would say. Like it depends. Some people are no problem, and it depends like how your living situation actually changes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
it's nice. Like I do feel the same. Like we say that we want to go to some best country because we want best, but to get the best, we start from the basics and then we reach the best. There are many downfalls, but yeah, to get the best, we do it.
Try this hard back home, you would get somewhere too. That's just my thing. It's like it's a preference, you know. It's not black and white, is all I'm saying.
yeah.
And it could take you back, like for you to get to know the weather. It's like being born again, you know, almost. It's like, okay, I need to get to know my weather, how to get around, how do things work,
Right. Right.
how to communicate with people, to have the because whenever you start something new, you feel like something's wrong with you, you know. Even in university, like,
Yeah.
I ask questions. I was like, oh, why am I so dumb? Like, why am I not doing this? Or like in school, it's like, oh, everybody else is doing like their
So
painting or
great.
whatever. Like, what's
Yeah.
wrong with
Oh my
me?
God.
Why can't I? So
Yeah.
here as well, like when you come, you're like, oh my God, I have an accent. Like I still have an accent after so many years. It just means that you know another language, right?
Yeah.
So for you to settle down and have the confidence to like speak up, like it puts you like 10 years back sometimes to be
Yeah.
able to have the same confidence as you would have back home.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, that's quite a relevant and piece of information, because a lot of people, especially from India, if I would say, because I'm living in India, I see this on a daily basis. A lot of people are just immigrating, thinking that life is like a bed of roses outside, or if someone has set up something for you and you just have to go enter there and the fairy tale starts. Personally, when Sima went there a few months back, we used to talk on a regular basis, and there was so much that she was going through all of a sudden, right? Which she did not anticipate when she was living here. So the moment she flew, there was a whole lot to manage: how to get a house, how to settle in that house, how to deal with the the owner of the house, how to deal with the local market, how to deal with people living with her, and then a bunch of other things. So and time zones, most importantly, let alone everything, but you don't even know how to manage your sleep patterns, and that's probably the worst thing. I would say it's not wrong to immigrate and study abroad, or maybe take up good opportunities. If you're getting, you should go ahead. But there's a lot of planning required, and it should not be like
Yeah,
people following random people and just thinking
that's
that
what.
there's nothing in their country, right? I think a lot of people do understand sensibly enough that if they work hard here, they can make a good career out of it. Sometimes, of course, when you clearly know that you're getting better opportunity in some other country or some other city, it's always good to take that up, right? But with proper
Yeah.
planning and with
And
proper
doing a research,
yes,
because I too did a research. I actually pre-planned everything, like what I'll
yeah,
have to do. I actually
yeah,
decided, and I even told her, like, yeah, I want to join an organization. So I researched about it.
yeah,
I have to do the LinkedIn thing. Okay, I did it prior. From India itself, I applied. So I knew that it's gonna start here in September. So I do need to do that the prior thing. So that actually helps, which you told, doing the research thing and doing things prior. When you go to a new place, things actually work out. But if you suddenly go to a place
yeah.
and you're like, oh, what? I'm just stuck. Yeah.
And having a
There's a
purpose,
lot of
having a purpose.
emotion.
Yeah.
because a lot of emotions hits you, right? So
Yeah.
if you've done some of the critical thinking before,
Yeah.
okay, like at least I'm not. I've done some homework, and
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just it's not black and white. I'm not saying like coming here, I got a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have gotten. Like I'm thankful to this country, but I'm just saying it's not black and white. And if you have problems that you would think, oh, if I go to a different city, it's going to be all good. If I get married, it's going to be all good. It's like no matter where you go, you take yourself with you, right? So the same problems are going to follow you.
Very true. Very true. Very
That's all.
important point. Very important.
It's a
Well,
very long topic. We can move on.
yeah. Well, Nika talked about languages, and that immediately caught my attention. Nika knows 5 languages, guys. So let's do a quick test, a language test for Nika, right in this meeting, okay? So Nika, tell me, because it's very cool that you know 5 different languages, and I think all of those 5 languages that you know are pretty tough. They're pretty tough, and I personally think you know you need guts to learn all of those. So you can thank your parents for it. You can thank your parents immigrating to Canada for it, or whatever. But you know them, right? So you have to tell us a word that is common in all the 5 languages.
Yeah. Um, so the languages that I know are very like they're like sister languages. They're very similar. So many common words. I could name 100 right now, but
Wow.
I also know English. So English throws it all off.
Okay, what are the
Right.
5 languages that you know, by the way? This again is a curiosity
I mean,
question.
Farsi is my mother language.
Wow.
So I
Okay.
speak Farsi, and then the other languages are also very, similar, like Urdu, Punjabi, Hindi, and I know English.
Oh, you know
I
Punjabi?
understand I just
That,
a little bit, yeah. And I can understand like Turkish and Arabic, but like very little. Like
yeah.
I can communicate and connect with the people, right? Like I know enough. For example, like the word shayad is common between all 4 of them, but not in English.
Not in English. Okay.
Or I think guitar actually is a word that came from those languages, and they use it in English as well. Because
Wow.
in Farsi we call it sitar
Yeah.
and or like tar. So maybe that's one word that's common between
You're
all of them.
pretty intelligent, by the way. At the end of this episode, I'm going to ask you to wish everybody a Happy New Year in 5 different languages.
Oh no, that's not happening. Don't put me on this spot.
But jokes apart, tell me one thing, Nika, since you know 5 languages and whatever be the reason for it, how important do you think it is to be a multilingualistic person? You know, how much confidence does that give you that you can probably communicate with a lot of different people, diverse people, very easily if you understand their thoughts, their ideas? And why do you think it's important to know a lot of languages?
I think it I'm going to give the same answer as I would give if you asked me why it's important to read books.
Yeah.
I used to think, when you read a new book, like right now, if at gunpoint or like at your sister's gunpoint, like if I keep asking you, imagine a new color or like show me a new color, you cannot. You just cannot. But when you read a book, I like the way I see it is like when you finish a book, you see a new color. So now the world has like this new color in it. Um, because like somebody worked like 30 years, to write that book, and then now you are reading that book, you are living their life.
Yeah.
Same thing with learning different perspectives, right? Like when I meet somebody new, I don't put myself into the meeting. I just let them be themselves and create a safe space for them to be who they are so that, I can learn something from them. It comes again from the learning and the curiosity. So languages definitely help, but the mindset that, hey, I want to get to know you because you're amazing and I'm going to learn something from you. And perspective definitely helps. Like in UX, for example, like because I come from a background of like technical, like, programming, and also like I've studied a little bit like 1 or 2 terms of business in our school because user experience is kind of
Yeah.
includes business.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if I'm sitting and talking to my project manager, I understand his pain, right? Like I understand his priorities because it always comes down to that, right? Or if I'm communicating with someone new, then I could also, sorry, let me actually switch this.
We are back.
Yeah, so back. Yeah, so yeah, knowing languages definitely builds bridges between you and other people. It helps, for sure, but it's more putting active effort into understanding people, understanding where they come from. I describe it as kind of gardening with people, right? Because you can't grow a certain plant in another condition. So you always have to understand what that particular plant was. What is the heat? What is the water? What is the condition? And give it what they need to grow. So it's the same mindset with me with people. Let me see what this person needs to heal or like to calm down or to succeed in their life. So let me try to get to know them.
Wow.
And language is definitely also is another tool.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
very beautiful answer. I mean, yeah, I can pretty much relate to it because here in India we say, अपनी भाषा में when you talk, when you तो precisely they say अपनी भाषा में बात करके आप ज़्यादा अच्छे से, you can communicate your
Yeah.
ideas. You can convey your ideas better when you're talking in your mother language. And I think English is important for dealing with a global audience and for dealing
Exactly.
on a professional level. But when it comes to dealing with people close to you and people of your own background, your community, your language plays a big role in making your
Yeah.
point clear to them and conveying the exact feeling, right? Sometimes you
Mother language is
know,
very important to intimate
yeah,
conversations, right?
exactly.
Like I can talk about work all day about work, but
Yeah.
like things like poetry, feelings, love, family. If I'm going through pain, like talking in Farsi, it's like okay, like I don't have to translate my feelings, right?
Yes. Sometimes you just don't find the correct words in some other language. It's just your mother tongue and you know the exact thing what you want to say. But when you try to say it in some other language, let's say English, for example, which happens with me every now and then, I struggle. Like, what word will ever replace the feeling that I'm feeling, that I'm able to, experiencing right now? So,
Exactly.
I mean, that's a pretty legit point.
And some languages are more limited. Like English is much more limited than the
Very,
language that we grew up with.
very much,
So
very much. Well, people here in India don't even call it a logical language, apparently, because why do you even have to put an alphabet when it has to be silent? So I'm like, I have no
Yeah.
answer to that.
yeah,
And there are so many sounds that English does not have. Apart from 26 alphabets, there are so many other sounds that other languages have, and this does not have. It's a whole lot of chaos. We
whole
can do
thing.
a separate
That's
session on
another episode on just that, just English.
oh, yeah, on understanding English. Simma, you're very quiet today. Ask a
Yeah,
question.
so I was just listening. It's so nice that so many languages and all. So it's kind of interesting. You're kind of being multilingual. Kind of you can interact with different people and all. And like the best thing about being international student, I know is that you get to know like people from different countries. You get to know their cultures, and you can correlate with them, learn new things. That's like one of the benefits of being international student. Yeah. And like now, I would like to ask you is like that being a professional in technical industry, I would like to ask you like what do you see in future regarding human interactions with the latest technologies which are coming up these days?
Um, Future in terms of the in terms of what?
Uh,
In terms of just like tech in general.
yeah, you can say in general, yes.
How
Like how
platforms, how we are having latest technology coming up, how we are trying to replicate human brain into AI, and how platforms are
Yeah.
becoming more and
Yeah,
more.
like we are having the blockchain technology coming
Yeah,
up, AI, they are using in health sector, they are
yeah.
using in different sectors. So like your personal views.
And things like
Yes.
chatbot, they don't even make you feel like you're talking to a machine. It's almost like you're literally interacting with a human being, and sometimes even better than human beings because they don't get angry at you. Apparently, you can demand love all the time from them, so you can probably get a good, a good nature from them. You can expect them to be very cool all the time. So, I mean, taking that as example, what do you see to be the future? What is according to you going to happen in the future since you're dealing with the interactive part of the technology?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an astrologer. Nobody knows the future. I'm not very well read in this topic. The only opinion that I have is that technology is a tool. Like people talk about like it's evil, it's taking over our lives. No, I don't think so. I think we were doing the same things that we are doing now, just using different mediums, and now we're doing it this way, you know. So bullying, there was already bullying, like, you know, not interacting with other people, it was already happening. So I just think it's a tool, like it's a knife, for example. It could be in the hand of a chef, it could be in the hand of a 2-year-old, right? So it's different. It's a tool.
Yeah,
What you do with it and what happens with it
very true.
is all I can say.
I think it's easy to put on blame on things rather than taking the responsibility. And we've always been advocating the fact that, social media, technology, and all these things are, again, they're just tools and they can't operate by themselves until you have an account on social media, until you have the technology in your hand to actually
Yeah.
operate it. So there is no technology that automatically starts working without even pressing a button. Sorry to say,
Yeah.
but you got to know how to press that button and when to press that button. So,
I think my answer is quite naive because it's not like that. Like technology actually does make a huge difference. It makes a lot of good and bad things easier. Like before I could like just talk to my neighbors, now I can talk to the whole world. Like I'm talking to you right now, I'm talking to Simon right now. So again, my answer is naive, but I'm not very well read on the topic.
I understand.
Um, so yeah, it's a tool, right? I think going forward there would be a lot of I guess rules and regulations on it, because up until some point it was just like a fun
Yeah.
thing that you would have, and now it's a part of our life. It's a part of the government's, like blockchain you said. It's going to be a part of, you know, how like the organ donation works. So I don't know, like just creative ways of
Yeah,
using it, right?
of course, of course.
So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of more serious stuff attached to it. In terms of UX as well, I think it's a field that's new and it's going to grow a lot more. It's becoming more and more valuable.
As we, go on getting new technologies into the picture, of course, their interaction with humans is the most important aspect that makes those technologies feasible for us, or even, considerable for us. So it's very important, if whether it's a human being or it's a machine, as long as that machine or the human being is able to communicate with you in a very appropriate manner, you are able to connect with it. Otherwise, I think we don't even talk to people who probably don't know how to convey their feelings as much. So it goes in the same way. So I think the UX designers are probably the hearts, and they put in that sense of communication in all the machines and all the platforms, and which is great, which is great. And by the
Mhm.
way, I mean, from this, I'll also like to add here that, Nika is very fond of psychology. She's very fond of studying human behavior. She's very fond of communicating with people, helping people out, as we have known. I mean, she's a very philanthropic person that way, and a very sensible human being. So I think it makes a lot of sense, right, Nika? I mean, you're putting when you're working for the interface, you're working on something called interaction. Uh, are you also able to relate that with your real life interactions, in the sense, when you're putting that human element in something, you yourself got to have that in the first place, right?
Yeah,
So
technology becomes more interesting with the human
yeah.
touch. Yeah.
How does that fascinates you? Because these days I see most people, talking about mental health, talking about psychology, talking about how to live life, how to make it easier. The people are probably publishing guides and books, and setting protocols on how life can become good. But in my opinion, it's very individual. It's a very personal choice. How your life becomes good is pretty much how you think, first of all, is good for you in the first place. If you define your good for yourself, that's how you define a good life. I mean, what's your take on this, and what do you think about this?
What's my take on what? That was like 30 topics. So many different things related to each other. Yeah, UX, like to wrap UX up, it's a name and that it's a very big umbrella and it's new. It doesn't mean like no two UX designers have the same job. Like it's very different. It could be like more business related, like which features do we want to release, which features are desirable, which features are feasible to actually implement. Um, you know, which features are actually viable, or like UX could be just like kind of more visual design, layout design. It could be more research based, right? Like advertising or yeah. So everybody has different takes on UX. For me, like I have a very specific take on UX. Yeah, so and like there we can like maybe attach a screenshot of some books. Like I've read a lot of books on UX as well. So yeah, again, that to tie it back to what we were talking about before, you are trying to create something valuable and desirable, and you're trying to get people to use it.
Yeah.
And for you to do that, you need to understand what the person really needs. And sometimes the user doesn't actually express what it is that they need. I don't know, it was a famous TikTok. It was saying that a customer comes to you and says, hey, I need to build a bridge. You can build a bridge, or you can ask them, why do you need to build a bridge? And they're going to be like, oh, because I need to get something across. So you can build them a boat, or you can ask them, what is it that you want to send across? And they're like, oh, it's a package. So you can get them to like ship it through airway, or you can ask them, what is your package? And they were like, oh, it's just a message. So you can introduce them, oh, hello, there's this thing called text message. You don't need a bridge, you need a text message. So it's always like trying to figure out what is it that the user really needs, like that, like keep asking why, what is it that you really need? How can I actually help you? And that all the aspects of like empathy and psychology helps you in. To understand what does the user need, what does the community need, what does the audience need, and how do I create this, and how do I communicate it? So what is the language that I need to speak for you to understand me? If you're sitting here, you're talking German, I'm talking Japanese, we're saying the same thing, but we're not understanding each other.
Absolutely.
So it ties it all together. You can always do better. You can always be better.
Connects back to why, how, and why questions are very important for living your personal life as well. You know, living a happier life, I would say, a more sorted and purposeful life, rather than
a more curious life.
Yeah, rather than just like, okay, I'm surviving it. You know, it's always good to ask a lot of questions and get yourself clear on certain things. Great. You know, all of us by now know that Nika is also a calligraphy lover,
Yeah,
a painter.
and I would like to like say that my personally, because I know like Lovepreet, she's into journalism and everything, but the creative factor I'm ahead of. Yeah. So I would like to tell you, like, I personally, though I'm a biotechnology student, I know you told about bioinformatics. I could relate to that. Oh, bioinformatics, because that's the only part of technology in biology where you can like relate with technology and use it like in actually the medical field. So, but despite that, I actually love writing poems. I can make posters, do a bit of video editing, public speaking, doing some leadership projects, and making some like managing the Instagram pages. So anything. I love biotechnology, but in my free time, like doing creative things, making cards and doing something creative which makes someone happy. Like personally, during the Christmas time, I for the kids, I myself, like we were trying to send cards and all, like to make them happy. We donated some gifts and all. So yeah, I've been working for this youth rising organization. So as a part of the Christmas week for them, we did that. So doing small things which are creative actually makes you happy. And so I personally felt like when I saw your creative talents, so like despite you're from such a good technical professional background, I would like what are the creative skills like or the part of the calligraphy or painting you would like to tell us about, and like why do you do and how do you feel like despite one side is the technical part of your life and the other creative, so how do you like feel like both and how balancing is and all
The
that
importance
about?
of hobby, precisely, Nika. I mean,
Yeah,
and how you
how
enjoy it.
like hobby makes your life go
Yeah.
despite you have to like manage your technical work and the professional life.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we have a bit of time to talk about more specific topics of mental health, but to summarize this, it keeps your sanity. You know, a form of expression, a form of creative work just keeps you sane. That's the summary. That's the answer. It keeps you sane.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always like, I always actually had that battle, like even in the beginning, choosing a major to study or like choosing a career path, that was my biggest fight. And then a professor of mine was like, maybe you don't have to choose. Maybe you can find something that does a little bit of both. So for me, yeah, like at the same time that I used to like try and volunteer and teach math, I was also working in the wedding industry because I was like, if I go this way, I'm going to go crazy. If I go that way, I'm going to go
Yeah,
crazy. Like I go that way and
I
I miss the challenge and the problem solving and the complexity. And then I go here and I'm like, I don't feel human anymore. Like I need to, be a bit.
That's so
So
relatable. That's so
it's
relatable.
more of
so
a question. Yeah.
I mean, that's so for every person who's in our age group, probably maybe even younger than us, people who are very serious in the age of in their teens itself, finding their passion at times, and even if they know their passion, then how to align those multiple passions that you have, and probably thinking, deciding on what my heart says and what my mind says, what's practically going to make me earn bread butter, and what I absolutely love doing. Sometimes they're like very different things altogether. You maybe you just can't even pursue them together at the same time, and that is a hard time decision. People just go crazy doing that. And most, while I was counseling children, when I was working as a student counselor, this question came to me every single time, how to choose, why should I choose one, and how should I manage if I'm choosing both, how the hell do I manage that, you know and I think in that process, in our lives today, the kind of lifestyle we have, it's very easy to give up on our habits, give up on things that we love doing, give up on precisely hobbies. People think it's probably a waste of time. Who will pick up a journal and write something every single day, and who will make a rangoli, who will cook? It's so depressing. That's
yeah.
probably
I
gender.
love making rangolis.
Yeah,
It
Yeah.
gender
it keeps
specific.
you sane.
And then you divide tasks on basis of gender also, above that, on top of that. I mean, it's weird, because sometimes I think if I was not writing, if I was not speaking, if I was not doing this podcast, I would have died long back. So life became so boring if I was not dancing, if I was not singing, if I was not playing the guitar. That makes life so boring, so monotonous. This 2 days of only work, and you'll understand what's the importance of having a hobby and having a leisure activity, right? And that's really important, like she said, to maintain the sanity in like the.
That's what it comes down to. And I think during the lockdown, we all came to appreciate artists, whether in any form. We were like me sitting here and my nanny sitting in Iran. Like we're doing the exact same thing. We're sitting at home, we're watching TV. Like it doesn't matter. We're just watching TV. We're listening to music. We're trying to read books. And for me, like you said, Simmer, like poetry has been a very big
Yeah.
part of my life, right? Like growing up in Iran, like any Iranian that you catch would tell you like 10 poems like off the top of their head. Like it's very integrated in our culture, but for me as well, it's always been a very big deal. And that's also what connected me to these like other languages, like especially Urdu, because like I can understand Urdu quite well. And I'm even right now, like I'm into these like two like poets that I'm like constantly, I'm like reading all of their work. So it keeps you sane, and honestly, whatever makes you feel good. Like I
Yeah,
never have like shoulds or shouldn'ts for anybody. Like if you want to just do tech and that makes you happy, do that. If you want to like whatever it is that makes you happy at the time. Sorry, there's some construction noise. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever you guys
yeah,
or it's a very individual, whatever makes you feel happy in that moment. And it's okay, we need to accept it. Like we accept certain emotions, like you were talking about gender, right? Like in our culture, I feel like we accept happiness from women and anger from men, and anything else not welcome. Like why are you crying, or like why are you crying, or like
that's
why
the
are you
stereotype
sad, why are you low?
present everywhere, Nika, regardless of, that's very
Yeah.
prevalent in our culture as well, which is kind of depressing also, because I mean, some men, in fact, my own brother, that he really enjoys cooking. But then when you make cooking a very gender specific role, that's where it loses its grace, I think. And half of the people don't, and this affects your decision making in terms of career as well. People stop thinking about these options. Like men stop thinking about becoming probably a suit designer, or becoming a chef, okay, or of becoming other multiple things which apparently are not gender specifically their jobs. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to have something apart from your professional life where you can
Yeah,
just connect with yourself probably and connect with other people. It can be anything, like literally anything, as simple as journaling, as simple as maybe reading a book. Sometimes you need that time to yourself, that space to yourself. And when you meet people who have a similar hobby, like both of you just connected over poetry, and probably I connected with you over book reading and probably writing something, that makes a lot of sense, right? You have a community and you can talk out, talk yourself, talk your concerns
yeah,
to them. And I think it makes a lot of sense. By the way,
yeah.
I'm very interested now to probably, if you remember any lines, some good, some poem of your choice you absolutely love, and if you remember one or
Yeah.
two lines of it, you can just go ahead and
Yeah. Before I say that, tell your brother that in like professional chefs at like the high like
yeah.
professional level is actually a very male dominated,
Yes.
it's a very male dominated profession. So maybe that would get him to follow
Of
follow his
course,
heart.
I do motivate him. I'm like, it's okay as long as you're cooking good food and people are not dying eating your food, you should cook. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe not part of, but I can share with you like who I'm reading these days. Like I know that like our countries have such like great legendary poets, but like these are the ones that I'm really into. Um, I don't know if you guys know Tehzeeb Hafi. He's from Pakistan and his poems are in
I've heard of
Urdu. I am like crazy in love with that guy recently. Like I'm just reading all his poems,
wow.
day and night. It's my recent obsession. And from India, like the lyricist Jani, he writes Punjabi songs.
Yes,
I don't know if you guys know him. Like
amazing.
I
Of course,
discovered that I discovered that guy very early on. I'm so proud of it. Like his first song was Soch, which came out like years ago.
amazing song.
And I was like, okay, this guy's so intelligent. Like he talks about details of daily things and like the way his word choices are unique. So those are like the two that you guys might know that I'm like super into these days. And my friends are tired of me talking about these two guys because I'm like constantly sharing. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? And like to my Iranian friends, I'm like constantly translating and then it doesn't make sense, obviously. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I can
sorry to
feel
my
you
friends.
there. Yeah, I mean, it
Great.
makes you happy. I think music is again a very beautiful thing,
Yeah.
when it just
Yeah.
automatically switches your mood, and whatever mood you are in, it probably helps you feel a higher version of that mood, probably, I can say. I don't know how to put this in words also, because then
Yeah, I
yeah,
myself, I like without a day without music, I'm like, how was
Yeah.
my day? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely lifts you up. Yeah,
beautiful.
it helps you express the emotion for sure.
Very beautiful. I mean, I'm feeling so good. It almost feels like we should not end this call, and it's
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
feeling,
going on
yeah.
and
And that's what, guys, and that's what, by this, I think you can make out that when you have something, of course, everybody has some
on.
passion.
Different
Everybody
stories
connects
and
with
stuff.
something. They like poetry, for example, and I am more a fan of two-liners and shairis, what we call shairis in India. I'm
yeah,
more a fan of that, okay? But however, I think you always get a community to connect with. And right now, we just for the first time, we are meeting Nika for the first time, and I swear to God, we are meeting her for the first time, and we connected immediately because we had something that is common to all of us, that makes us
exactly.
happy, right? And that's how you connect with the world altogether. It's all about, having that, knowing your love towards a particular thing or a
And
particular.
the more that I expand myself and I expand my life, the more people I can connect with. Maybe if I never read poetry or I never talked to these languages, I might have never met you guys, right? So
Absolutely.
that's where it comes from. Like it's not like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this and then that and then that. You just like keep expanding and bettering yourself, and then once the opportunity comes ahead, then
Amazing, amazing. I think this entire episode was full of messages, was full of learnings, and we have to respect time. Although we don't want Nika to go, but
Yeah.
we have to end the
yeah.
show. But before we end, I think I would like Nika to, give a message for the people who are listening to her right now. It was very kind of her to join us at this hour of the day. It's early morning at Nika's place. It's afternoon at
Yeah.
Sima's place. Sima has to go somewhere, and it's night. It's exactly 10:42 p.m. here in India right now. So I think we'll end with a beautiful message from Nika. Yes, Nika, you go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, a couple things about failure. Again, I want to say look at it like driving and using Google Map. That's the mentality that I use. It's okay if you miss an exit, or if you miss a turn, detour. Try again. Go back into the highway. Keep going. If it rains, you'll be fine. All you can do is learn how to drive. Put up your seatbelt. Take your loved ones, and try to go far. If just look at it that way, it's okay. Like, it's a plot twist, right? Like, you miss a turn, there's a blockage. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to go to the concert anymore because the highway has traffic, right? Like, just that mentality towards failure and towards approaching goals. And about procrastination, because we talked a lot about getting things done and then going far, read into procrastination. And try to understand where in you it comes from. A lot of times it's not about, because I taught so many students, right, different ages. It's never about the subject itself. It's always a distracting thought. So figure out what's distracting you. If you're sitting down to study or to work, what's distracting you? Maybe go address that. Maybe it's the dishes you didn't wash. Go wash the dishes and come back. Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's a feeling that you didn't express. Go express that feeling. Hey, I hate you. You said this to me. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Okay, now I'm going to study. Or maybe it's coming from perfectionism, right? Like, it's like, oh, if I don't do anything, I don't do anything wrong. So again, ask questions, try to figure it out. I think I just wanted to mention that to wrap things up, that things are going to not go as planned, and then just keep going, keep pivoting. Yeah, that's all. And then happy holidays, happy new year, to you guys, and to anyone who would be listening to us.
Yeah.
I
got a one-liner for you, like, follow your dreams, follow your passion.
Yeah. Follow your heart, but take your brain with you.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I think, I mean, people looking for some magic formulas to live a better life. I think, I mean,
It's hard.
somebody who is like sharing her own experience right here is also sharing that she messed up multiple times. And then every time she just didn't decide to get stuck there, but to choose a path B, or to figure out, how do I reach there? There are always multiple paths to reach one destination. You just need to know.
The magic formula is that life is very hard. It's very hard, and it's very unfair, and so many bad things are going to happen to you, and that's just how it is. Accepting that makes everything easier, because you're not shocked and surprised anymore. Just think about a 1-year-old trying to stand and walk. Like, it's not like, oh, I fell once, oh, I'm gonna sit down now for the rest of my life. It's like, okay, like, you know how many times these little babies like fall and get up.
Absolutely.
So it's hard. It's going to be hard. It gets really hard, and then it gets better.
Yes. Acceptance. I've said enough of that in my blog. Acceptance is the key to starting your journey towards something better. And of course, in that, don't forget gratitude. For all those little elements that make you happy and that you're blessed with. Make sure you multiply those blessings when you manifest more blessings. In fact, when you are thankful for the blessings that you already have. So it's very, very important for you to always remember that you've got something good. You need to be thankful for it. And whatever bad is happening, that's just bad. It looks bad. Probably it has a bigger good hidden for you. Probably sometimes it happens. It happened with me in childhood. I took my scooty off. I was traveling to a place, the example that Nika gave, and there was a blockade. I had to change my path. And I was saved from a very major accident that happened on that road after 15 minutes when I changed the path. So at that point in time, I was crying. I have to travel 2 kilometers extra. But later on, those 2 kilometers felt nothing in front of losing life. So sometimes these small, silly things, they teach you such a big lesson, and it's important to, accept whatever is happening and find better ways to situations while being grateful. Well, guys, this was a pretty long. Yes, Nika, you were saying something?
No,
okay.
Just listening to you. It's a great example.
This was a pretty long episode, guys, and we had absolute fun, recording with Nika. Thank you so much again. It was a very short notice for her. She still managed, besides having so much work, besides having so much personal stuff to do. Thank you so much for that. Thanks to Simmer for bringing in Nika, for pitching in that Nika should be the good guest for us, and then for staying with us on the call. Everybody, both of them, it's morning for them, so they have a bunch of things to do. I anyway have to sleep now, so we'll let you also sleep. I hope this episode really helps you guys because it has a lot of meaning to it, and you learn by others' experiences. That's why we read autobiographies. That's why we read biographies, because there's no point repeating those same mistakes which people did and probably ended up feeling guilty about. So you learn when somebody tells you their experience, you learn. And we are trying to share such stories with you of people who are ordinary but still extraordinary. So I hope you are enjoying. Look, stay tuned for more episodes of this particular series. We are going to have some really interesting people, which we'll know the sneak peek of that very, very soon. And thanks a lot for connecting with us. Share this video with whomever you feel should listen to this. We have had an absolutely gorgeous guest here talking about such beautiful things. So it deserves a share and a like and a comment. If you could relate with anything, just stop there and comment down below whatever your experience was. Probably we can just connect over that and create a new community, right? So thank you again. We'll see you very, very soon in the next episode. Till then, take care, be happy, stay connected, and we wish you all a very, very happy new year. Let's say it together. 1, 2, and 3. Happy New Year. Oh,
Happy
you
New
had
Year.
to say that. Okay, Happy New Year, everyone. We hope that
New Year. Yeah.
brings a lot of happiness and success for all of you. And we hope that 2021 washes off all the bad memories of 2020. Yes, Nika? You were trying to say something?
No.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
I always feel
Thank
she
you
was
guys.
trying
This was amazing.
Thank you so much. Okay, see you guys in the next episode. Take care
Bye-bye.
and bye bye.